Sawadee krap. Good morning. I'm glad to see you online. I trust that everyone online and your family are safe and well. My name is Kenneth Koh. I'm the CyberArk Regional Sales Manager for Indo-China region and Thailand. In this pandemic situation, besides fighting the virus, those in cybersecurity are also fighting against the onslaught of cyber attacks. In addressing the pandemic situation, we have quickly adapted in the way we work and thus exposed to various vulnerabilities as well. And so today, we shall be sharing about the shift to identity security. Let's talk about the market trends and how it affects the identity aspects of IT and cybersecurity. Three major trends exist that influence cybersecurity. Firstly, digital transformation. It has become a top trend, especially with the crisis shutting down so many non-digital businesses. In fact, it has become an existential mandate for most of the businesses. The rapid adoption of cloud apps and infrastructure was accelerated tenfold in 2020. According to Gartner, 70% of organizations using cloud services today will continue the cloud spending in the wake of disruption caused by COVID-19. Secondly, from an IT angle, the nature of a user's privilege entitlement or permissions are also rapidly changing. Increasingly, it is about the explosion of identities due to digital transformation and the fact that any user can become privileged. In the on-prem world, there was a clear delineation between privilege and standard access. This is not the case in cloud. With remote work, any person can become highly privileged, representing a potential pathway for attacker to exploit. And thirdly, from a cybersecurity perspective, zero trust has thus become an increasing important. Zero trust is a major influence on how to approach security in the face of these modern challenges. Zero trust in a nutshell means that we cannot trust a user just because they have access, because stolen passwords are still the leading cause of breaches. We need to verify their identity, validate the device that they are using, and limit the access that they need. Let's take a look at how the IT landscape has evolved into. Most IT are in a hybrid environment now, from on-premises infrastructure to cloud, from legacy client-server application to web applications, microservices, from working in office to working from home, from a human user to application, DevOps, bots, third-party vendor, and workforce users. Privilege exists across the entire IT stack, including data, application, endpoints, and network, across hybrid infrastructure all the way to multi-cloud. Until several years ago, IT administrators were considered as privileged users. In today's environment, almost any identity can be privileged under certain conditions. For example, this can be a developer or a DevOps engineer who have access to source code or DevOps pipelines and tools that can easily impact the organization's production environment and therefore represent high risk. It can also be just RPA robotic process that needs high privileges in order to access corporate resources to perform its tasks. It can also be a third-party vendor that needs to access corporate resources for remote work. And it also can be any of the workforce team members that access a financial system with high privilege based on his role and responsibilities. All these types of privileged access represent a high risk to the organization and therefore requires high level of security controls. Privilege is now everywhere, and so are the risks associated with it. Indeed, many of the modern breaches have shown that identity is the weakest link. Identity thefts continue to be necessary for a hacker in any attack path. This is because any users now may have privileged account. This account has the capability to assess, change, alter, or impact operational service of a business or process. Things like the move to the cloud, digitization, and increased use of automation all dramatically expand the attack surface. Each step to create new doors, they need to be locked. More importantly, how do we do this without slowing things down? We cannot slow the speed of our digital transformation. This has introduced challenges to business, IT, and security. Let's take a moment to visualize this. These are the three main challenges that we'll face from a cybersecurity perspective. Users would form a new invisible perimeter. If the identity of a user is stolen by an attacker, it will give the attacker direct access into the organization. Identity thus form an invisible perimeter. We need to secure this new perimeterless enterprise. Secondly, we know that a normal user can also have access to sensitive information or be over-permissioned to do a simple task. If this user account has access to financial, human resource, or R&D information, sensitive information would be at risk. We need to manage this account, permission, and its corresponding credentials. And thirdly, with the workforce now mostly working from home, the endpoint and the user is now more exposed than before. This presents the attacker a much wider vector of attack and an easier route into the organizational network. We need to enable a remote workforce at the same time secure their access. Failing to manage these challenges can result in serious implications. Some of it includes security breaches. Let's take a look at security breaches. Average size of a security breach is 25,000 records. Cost per lost record is $150. That's worked out for an average cost of 3.92 million for one single data breach. Other impacts to the business include misalignment of business and security, inefficient use of IT resources, resulting in diminished business user productivity, poor user experience, vendor sprawl, meaning having too many products to manage a common problem, or compliance gaps, thus increasing the audit costs. All is not lost if we manage this systematically. If identities are all managed well, we can help secure business and also grow and stay competitive by the four main values that we see here. We can defend against cyber attack, we can drive operational efficiency, we can enable digital business, and we can satisfy compliance and audits. We need to introduce a new perspective to address the identity risk and support these business drivers. CyberArk is taking a unique security-first approach to address these challenges, and we call it identity security. Identity security recognizes that the nature of privilege is rapidly changing and expanding in a world where the number, the type, and the interrelationship of identities are exploding. This dynamic is creating a whole new dimension to the threat landscape that improperly secured can provide and attack path to an organization's most valuable assets. Identity is the new security battleground, both from a cybersecurity point of view, but also from a business and industry perspective. Let's take a look at what capability is needed to address this challenge. From anywhere in the world, from any location, users are going to be demanding access to applications and systems, and it won't be just human-based identity either. The drive to automation and digital transformation increases the demand from autonomous systems to get secure access. The number of identities used to access this hugely varying system has exploded. This brings with it a proliferation of privilege and entitlement, which will prove a burden to understand and manage. Automated systems will continue to need secure access without impeding velocity. Our challenge is to maintain a unified approach to security and protecting this access. Identity security, therefore, focuses on authentication that identify accurately, authorizing that identity with the proper permissions, providing access for the identity to privilege assets in a structured manner, all in a way that can be audited and accounted for to ensure the entire process is sound. Identity security is the custodians of access regardless of the user or the target. Let's take a look at how CyberArk can help. CyberArk Identity Security vision is to provide an end-to-end identity security platform which provides secure access to any user, whether it's IT admin, DevOps engineer, applications or robots, third party, or any workforce team members. They access any applications or system from SaaS to cloud workloads and on-prem applications and systems from anywhere using any devices. All this access will be provided on a unified platform with security-first approach. The AI-powered policy will automatically apply the needed privilege access security control to each session based on the level of privileges that is required and the associated risk of the session. Our goal is to leverage on CyberArk's unique expertise to expand our privilege access security capabilities such as session isolation, session recording, continuous authentication, just-in-time access, and so forth, to a wider range of identities whenever a privilege access is required. The platform will provide a unified system for the end user to access any applications and system that he or she needs with minimum friction, regardless of the security controls that are applied to these sessions. Our vision or our mission is to provide a modern approach to identity security anchored on privilege to protect against advanced cyber threats. And organizations can get started today leveraging on CyberArk's capability to secure infrastructure and operations, workforce and digital workspaces, as well as automations and codes. Customer can start at a different entry point depending on the security posture at a point in time and scale out or scale up from there on. We are not doing all this alone. We understand that there are peripheral systems that we need to work with closely. Security is a team game. We continue to work with our key technology partners to create new and deeper integration that will help customers in extending identity security to other systems. Currently, we already have more than 150 certified partners and more than 200 plugins for use. So where do we go from here? At CyberArk, our goal is to help customers develop an effective and mature identity security program. And to do so, we understand that it takes more than just product. To succeed, organizations need strategic guidance across people, process, and technology domains. The kind of guidance that can only come from years of experience and a proven track record. So leveraging on our decades of experience, we were able to design the CyberArk Blueprint. It is a best practice of framework that simply prescribes a designed, measured to reduce risk and defend against cyber attacks. Besides our experience, our innovation is also at the forefront. CyberArk continues to stay close to our customers and their evolving needs. Innovation is in our DNA. We have 83 patents and counting, and with non-stop organic development plus track records of successful acquisition. Staying close to our customer allows us to be at the forefront of cyber threats and to develop a platform for our customer to scale up and out on new features within the same platform, protecting their investment in the systems, operations, and training, helping customers from getting into a vendor and product sprawl. So how is CyberArk doing within the various customer sectors? The number speaks for itself. CyberArk has a very high percentage of top companies in each industry, mostly at the 80% of all top 25 companies in each sector. All this thus accumulates and resulting into where we are now. As the undisputed leader in privileged account management, with more than 6,000 plus customers globally and more than 50% of the Fortune 100. We are working with CISOs around the globe to move forward in digital transformation while proactively minimizing their risks. Let's take a look from a third-party review perspective. The industry analyst community also continues to recognize CyberArk's leadership, as you can see from this recent Gartner Magic Quadrant released in August 2020. We are routinely positioned very favorably in analyst report from Gartner, Forrester, or KuppingerCole. In the most recent Gartner report, we were positioned both highest in ability to execute and furthest in completeness of vision for the second time in a row since the release of this Magic Quadrant. Let's take a look at the other accolades. We had a lot of experience over here, as you can see. For awards in security innovation, product innovation, as well as the best places to work for in both our Boston and Tel Aviv area office. With 83 related patents, successful acquisition, integration, and non-stop organic development, CyberArk is the undisputed leader in securing privileged access and in helping to keep you one step ahead of attackers. With this, I hope you can see the importance of identity and why the need to shift to identity security. Stay safe and stay secure for your identity. Thank you very much.ขอบคุณครับมาก